How much money do Americans need to be comfortable? $1 billion? Well, it depends, right? Because like if you're living by yourself, it's obviously way less. And it depends on like where you live. Like there's some people and they can live on, you know, like, I don't know, like $30,000 or something like that. Maybe not 30, like $50,000 a month or a year. I think people can live on $30,000 a month. But if you're making $50,000 a year in some places in the country, that's enough.
The average American says they need to earn $233,000 a year to be financially comfortable.
Single? If you're single, that's a lot of money, man. Holy shit.
But in 2021, American workers on average made only $75,203 annually.
Americans are sort of looking at how much money they would like to have to be financially secure, and that ends up being basically 3 times what the average income is in this country. And to be essentially wealthy or really successful, it's magnitudes above that.
72% of Americans said they weren't financially secure given their current finances.
Weren't financially secure? Yeah, that's probably true.
And more than a quarter
and by the way, that's true with people that make $300,000 a year because they just spend money like idiots.
Said they'll likely never be financially secure.
By the number.
That's like some fucking doomer shit. Over a quarter of people think that they'll never be financially secure. That's awful.
Their debt is lower and their savings are higher coming out of the pandemic. But they're more anxious about what's going to happen next, if they have job stability, if they're going to be able to have secure retirement.
With well over half of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, many are failing to meet some of their modest financial goals.
Jesus.
There are actually millions of people struggling. It's not something that people want to talk about, but if you're in a place where your financial security feels super precarious, you're not alone. And it's not your fault.
So how did it become so difficult to be financially secure in America? And what can you do about it?
I think it's just people aren't getting paid enough money. That's really all there is to it. It is your fault? Well, I think that it's like, so it's an instance where it is and it's not your fault. It might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility to get yourself out of it. Where it's like, you did not create the economic system that you exist in, but you are the only person who's going to give you the ability to overcome it. You're not going to have, you know, the government isn't going to come and save you. There's not going to be like a group of people that's going to come and save you. A new president isn't going to save you. You can only save yourself, really. So it's like, yeah, you didn't cause this to happen, but still, you're the only person that can cause it to stop happening.
Let's do some budgeting. Americans working full-time earned a median monthly income of about $4,400 during the second quarter of 2023. The average worker takes home 75.2% of gross wages after taxes and benefits.
Yep, somewhere around there.
The take-home pay to about $3,308. And that just isn't enough to cover the cost of living in America today.
Jesus.
The cost of healthcare, that has skyrocketed. The cost of attending college has skyrocketed. The cost of purchasing a home has skyrocketed.
I know. I've seen people looking at houses like the price of houses now is fucking insane. It is nuts, especially here in Austin. Like a lot of my friends have gotten priced out of Austin. They're not even living in the same city anymore. We grew up here. They can't even afford to live in the neighborhood they grew up in. This is a 25-year-old dude. It's fucking crazy, dude. I'm so pissed. Yeah.
But nowhere has anyone said wage growth is up 15%, right?
Take a look at some of the most essential expenses for Americans. The median monthly rent in the U.S. is $2,029 as of June 2023. That amount already accounts for over 46% of the Americans' median pre-tax income. But most U.S. agencies classify spending more than 30% of one's gross monthly income on rent as being rent-burdened. Meanwhile, the median mortgage payment for a 2,400 square foot house was $1,957 per month. However,
they need to have those pods that people live in. That's what they need to do. Like, yeah, they need to make those pods. If you voted for Biden, you have no right to complain. I mean, this was happening before Biden was in office. Like, this has been happening for a long time. Like, I understand you might not like Biden, and Biden might have made it worse. But the truth is that, like, how is it that Biden is this, like, super incompetent, like, person that, like, doesn't even know where he is, but he's also causing the economy to collapse? Like, I feel like the president probably doesn't have that much impact on this. I think this is something that's happening just economically in general.
A common rule of thumb advises spending 28% or less of your pre-tax income on mortgage payments. For the median gross monthly earnings, that translates to just $1,232.
Jesus.
As we talk to households and talk to consumers out in the real world, especially those, say, under 40, housing is the big issue. You know, rent, mortgage. It is the biggest concern that people aren't going to be able to make the next payment.
Inflation.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I know tons of people that, like, can barely make a house payment, and, like, every single month there's, like, some rabbit that they have to pull out of a hat to, like, figure out how they're going to be able to make money to live for the next month. It's nuts, man. Americans are something else. Yeah, but you have to remember that the real problem is who's using what bathroom. And, you know, do men have it worse than women or not in dating? So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, that's the real problem, not this. This doesn't matter at all. It's about who's using what bathroom, what color a person's hair is, and, you know, like, what gender they think they are. This is what the real issue in the world is.
And is really hurting individuals having stability in their housing. And I think sometimes we underestimate that if you have uncertainty in your housing, it causes uncertainty everywhere.
Well, obviously, right? Because, like, if you lose your house... If you lose your house, this is why you moved to LA. Let's see. Let's look at that house. $2 million. I bet it's probably $2 million. Yep.
Is also the reason why cities have become more difficult to afford. Americans said it would require more than $1 million in net worth to be financially comfortable in places like San Francisco, New York, and Southern California.
This is why.
Probably in San Francisco, they're right. I think the median salary in San Francisco is like $138,000. The average is okay. It's $120,000. Okay, I mean, to be fair, guys. Hey. I had it perfect. It was 130. It was 36, not 38. Okay. Well, I was pretty close. I remember reading it. I read it 2 years ago. Okay, I was 2022. Now it's actually somehow gone down. I'm sure that's good.
We've seen some migration or mobility around the country where some people say, I'm living in a high-cost state like California or New York. We really want to sort of pack up and go to an area that's less expensive. And one of the ironies of that is those places that were cheaper before are now becoming more expensive.
Because more people are going to them.
Americans spend on average $690.75 on food every month, according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That amount
almost $700 on food a month. Like, I definitely spend way less than that, but I also eat way less than a normal person eats. Yeah, like, I think that's a lot of money. I remember, like, we had food stamps for a lot of years, and we had $200 on food stamps. And, like, and here's the thing, right? Is, like, I lived like that for so long that it's just normal to me. It's not a big deal. But I think for a family, obviously, $690 is totally normal.
Is significantly
I'd say that's even
than
low.
Any of USDA's estimated grocery bills, including more generous and liberal food plans. Add the out-of-pocket health expenditures that cost the average Americans $96.42 every month.
Jesus.
You get a total expense of $2,816.17 for renters and $2,744.17 for homeowners. That amount already accounts for 85% of the median take-home pay for average American renters.
And this is just like the money that people need to live, right? Not even like anything that they can do to enjoy or, you know, have for themselves or to save or anything like that. Because, you know, for example, you're going to have to pay for gas. You're going to have to pay for, like, I don't think this took into account, was it just rent or was rent added into utilities? You have your phone bill. You have your internet bill. You have your car insurance. You have house insurance. Let's see. What else besides that? There's probably one more, right? Yeah, like water. Like, yeah, I kind of had that as well. Like utilities. Yeah. Like the amount of money that you have to spend is crazy, bro. Like you get that shit eaten up like it's nothing.
And over 82% for an average homeowner. This is excluding other essential expenses like transportation, childcare, and debt payments.
Many Americans are really struggling with just the increase of costs of living and food and housing, utility bills.
Oh yeah, I finally had it happen. I went to Walmart and I bought something. I was buying things and I had in my mind, like mentally, it was going to be like $85 and it was $200. It was insane. It was the first time I had like that happen.
Homeowners insurance has gone up, and how can they pay for them?
A bit off, yeah.
Meet other goals that they have to.
Budgeting experts advise Americans to spend just 50% of their net income on essentials, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings or paying off debt.
Jesus.
We see that allocation shifting significantly where people are spending 75% of their take home just on needs, which leaves very little for wants and very little for saving for your financial future. So
I think also, like, if people don't make enough money to where they can see a future of themselves being successful, they're not really motivated to try to push towards that happening. So, like, you have to give some sort of, like, path to salvation, right? Whereas, like, for a lot of people, like, I see this all the time, and it's like these, especially this is true with, like, Gen Z people, like, early 20s. You know, they get out of college and they get hired at Starbucks because that's the only place they can get a job. And, you know, they spend their whole life working, and then they have to spend all of their money on making sure that they can keep going to work. And then finally, you know, you have, like, $35 left over. And it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do with $35 a week? They need to stop being weak. I mean, like, for sure, definitely. Like, I mean, as I said, like, you have to overcome your circumstances on your own. And if you don't do it, then you're just going to die and nobody cares about you. Like, you're definitely right. But I know that that's true, but I can also empathize with them on a personal level and see how much it sucks that it's true. So, like, it doesn't change the reality. Like, commiserating with somebody about this, the nature of their situation doesn't necessarily mean that you think that their situation is, like, completely unfair or unjustified or anything like that. Does that make sense? Because everyone can have a $100K a year job. Like, there's enough for everyone. Well, I mean, I don't know. But it's like, if you're not one of those people, it's not a surprise that you're going to be unhappy with yourself.
Upon where you live and of course your income, many Americans really cannot meet that target allocation.
So much
it's nuts.
Managing your financial life in America today is like drinking from a fire hose. I think many households are not able to show up and impose a framework of their own design onto their finances. Many are still in this reactionary space.
Somebody is saying that, like, and this is, I think, one of the problems that people have. And I'm going to read this right here. Sorry, but what they're referring to is 75%, which is due to which party is in office, not one guy, but the party. Democrat means $5 gas, Republican means $2 gas. I think that there's a lot of people in American politics that are trapped in, like, this dichotomy, and the dichotomy allows the two parties to control everybody. Because there's a lot of people, like, if you look at a lot of these super rich people, they're donating monies to both party. They're donating money to both parties. It's not like they're only donating to Republicans or only donating to Democrats. They're playing the field. Like, a good example of this is the Koch brothers. So whenever you start fighting of, like, Democrats and Republicans, neither Democrats or Republicans have any sort of long-term solution for what this problem is. So you're stuck in this, like, again, this, like, two option mindset where it's like things are either going to be bad or worse. Well, that's not a very good premise, is it? Like, it's all problems are convenient for politicians. Exactly. Yes. The two-party system, I think, is, and if we had three parties, it's not like that would solve the problem. But again, like, this has been happening for years and years and years. The Koch brothers fond of the Tea Party too. Yeah. One thing is that, should I read this? And to stop treating politics like sports. So you're saying vote Kennedy? Well, I'm not sure. I'd have to look and see what all he's into. Like, I follow him on Twitter, but I haven't really seen everything. But what I'm trying to get at is that, like, the Democrats aren't trying to solve your problems. The Republicans aren't trying to solve your problems. They're trying to solve some of your problems, but they're not, like, at the end of the day, you're going to go home and you're not going to have the money to live the life that you want to live with either one of them. Like, I mean, that's what my opinion is. I don't think either one of them are actually providing, like, legitimate solutions. That's why people like, for example, like Andrew Yang and like Bernie Sanders, and I mean, even Trump to an extent, right? Because he was just so out of left field. That's why these like kind of random candidates get so much grassroots support, is because I think people realize that a lot of the politics is just built around basically like making people feel like, well, at least I didn't get the bad ending. Or I didn't get the worst ending. So now it's okay for me getting the bad ending. They distract real problems with fabricated soft problems. Yeah, they do. There's always like these weird soft problems that people get involved in. Their goal is keeping the machine going on. Yeah.
Where they're just trying to figure out how to make ends meet.
The Federal Reserve has implemented 11 interest rate hikes to combat inflation since March 2022. But more than a third of Americans said rising interest rates kept them from financial comfort.
Higher interest rates really can stand in the way of affordability for many financial activities or decisions that people want to engage in, and home purchases is sort of at the top of that.
Well, it's also like home purchases, like student loans are the worst ones. Like student loans and car payments are crazy. Like in my opinion, like if I had student loans and I didn't, like I wasn't really making a lot of money, I would never pay them. I would never pay them. And I would just let the money stack up and just assume that one day in the future, there will be some sort of solution that will happen that I don't know what's going to happen. We don't. Never pay them. Fuck them. John Oliver just said a student loan video. Yeah, make college free. Well, fuck that. Go to college for money and then just don't pay them. That way you get both the best of both worlds. Been doing that since I graduated. So would you do the same with a mortgage? Well, no, because they can take the house away from you, but they can't take the diploma away from you. So you get to keep it and then just not give them the money. Like it's pretty simple, right? And so that's obviously what the difference is. They can. Oh, no, they can. There are methods, but it's harder to do.
Look at the person who was going to buy a house that was, let's say, $375,000 2 years ago. Their monthly payment would have been less than $2,000. Now it's about $3,400, and it's the same house, right? The only thing that has changed is the interest rate.
Purchasing
$2,000 up to $3,400. That is fucking insane. That's crazy. Oh my God.
A car is more expensive. It's more expensive to maintain a balance on a credit card with the new offers for a credit card, even for the best qualified individual being at 20.5%, and other people are paying closer to 30%.
The cost of capital is going up very rapidly, and many of the kind of toeholds we saw for lower income households was because they were having access to credit and to home loans and to other things in a relatively flat economy where they still had a good job market. The ability to access credit, both for small businesses and for households, is getting much harder as the financial system becomes more risk averse in that space.
Credit is essential because Americans don't have the savings to cover big expenses. More than 40% of Americans...
And it's also like, I do think there's a component where people are not financially literate, and the reason why they don't have savings is because they waste their money. I think this absolutely happens. I know a lot of people that do this personally, and I think that this is true, but it's also not the whole story. So like there are people also, like if you're spending all of your money, well, you don't have any money to save in the first place. And also, like, if you're saving money and it's like, oh, wow, I'm saving $40 a month. Okay, this really isn't going to help you a whole lot, right? It's like if you do the math on, like, interest on this, it's really not going to do a whole lot. So rent's 10% of my monthly income. I'm saving 80% of it. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I think that there are a lot of people who just don't know how to spend money, and they waste their money on bullshit all the time. But I think also, like, for the amount of people, like, this was my mindset whenever I didn't have a lot of money. I had the mindset of I'm not going to save money because I'm going to lose the money eventually anyway. I'm never going to be able to save money right now. So I'm just going to spend it as soon as I get it and enjoy myself and live in the moment. That was my perspective whenever I was like 22 and 23. I'd say, yeah, the fuck it mindset. Yeah, the YOLO fuck it mindset. Exactly.
Named insufficient retirement funds or emergency savings as a reason for financial insecurity.
Because I think that people are more incentivized to save money whenever they can feel a tangible impact of the money that they're saving, and they can't actively, like, for example, like it's okay to forego like some really cool things that you have, but it's like if you have to live like a monk and you have to basically just, you know, not have anything that you like to do. You never get to go out to eat. You never get to, you know, buy things that you like to do. You never get to go and, you know, hang out with your friends or consume any type of entertainment. Then guess what happens? Well, you're just going to be unhappy. And so whenever saving money just comes from, you know, you not being able to do anything you want to do, it's not a surprise that people aren't going to want to save money.
People just to feel subjectively feel financially better, they need some amount of savings. A lot of financial planners will say 3 months of your income. That's for many people.
3 months worth of income? That's a lot of money. You think about that, right? So if you use the math that they have, and if their income, 3 months of income was $4,400, so then 3 months of that would be $13,000. What would that be? $13,200. So $13,200. And if you're saving at a ratio of, I think they said $500 a month, that would be over 2 years. It would take you over 2 years to have that money. That's crazy. That's not covering any emergency. Yeah, that's nuts.
So overwhelming that they can't even begin to think about it.
More than half of Americans today said they didn't have at least 3 months of emergency expenses saved.
I'm surprised it's not higher. I would have assumed it's like 70 or 80% of people.
Including 22% that said they had no emergency savings at all.
It doesn't take unemployment to really knock somebody out of whack with respect to their personal finances if they're among the
Well, like if you get in a car wreck and you have to pay $4,000 to fix your car, or you have to pay $2,000 to fix your car, that completely fucks up your finances. Like, that's it. You are fucked.
Americans who say they cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense and to pay that from their savings.
The reality is, if expenses are routinely higher than your income, you are not going to be able to put away meaningful sums.
Well, obviously.
There are many, many households who do the verb of saving. You see money go into their account all the time. It just doesn't stay there because they are routinely hit with a need to grab that little bit of money and use it for some kind of income shock or unexpected expense or even expected expense.
Well, because there's always things that can go wrong. Like, this is what I think people don't understand is that, like, playing, living life whenever you don't have a lot of money is like playing a game on hardcore mode. You don't have respawns. You don't have, different types of rewards. It's like playing on solo self-found or something like that. And you don't have the battle pass. You don't have the premium battle pass. So, like, for example, if your mouse stops working, well, now that's $20 to buy a new mouse. And also, it's not $20. It's like $22 or $23. And it's not $22 or $23 because of tax. It's actually like $27 maybe because you have to go to and from the place that you buy the mouse at, assuming that you don't have Amazon Prime. And if you do have Amazon Prime, then you've got the $100, $150 that you're spending on Amazon Prime. And so there's all these other components that go into, it's like being poor. This is actually, I love this. Do you know the game QWOP? Where you have to move the guy's, every single muscle in the guy's body in order to run? QWOP, yeah, it's like this guy. Let me go ahead and I'll show you this. This is what being poor is like. This is what not having money is like. Right here. This is it. And you have these other problems and these other issues that you're running into, and all of these issues and these problems, like for a normal person, they don't even think about this. It's not even a factor. But whenever you don't have any fucking money, you got to think about how you're going to move your calves, how you're going to, this is you. This is you, bro. Like, that's right there. See, that was an unexpected surcharge on, oh, geez. Yep, there it is. See, your credit card, an overcharge fee? Oh, yep, there it is. Just had it happen. Yeah, and the rich guy is driving past. Yeah, it's not like he's playing a racing game. Bro, the rich guy is playing Forza Motorsport. He's driving by. He didn't even know what the hell's going on. He didn't even see this. He probably runs you over. Yeah, so this is what it's like being like I would say like not having a good amount of money, like not being super poor, but like not having a lot of money. Any little thing that happens, any little thing, right like that. There it is. You're closer to being homeless than to being rich. There it is. Overdraft fees or peak capitalism? Yeah. And guess what happens? You know what's funny is that like my account, I don't get overdraft fees. I don't have overdraft fees. It doesn't happen. So like there are things that, for example, if you have a lot of money, there are a lot of things that don't cost money. Why is that? Because I have a lot of money invested in the bank. And so they give me a different account. Yeah, like straight up. Like that's the way it works. And so, yeah, so it's fine. And I used to be like in a position, so like do banks still do this? I don't know if they still do this. I'm assuming they do. That you have to have a monthly income going into your bank account, or you have to have a total lump sum in your bank account. And if you don't, they take money out of it. The broke boy tax. Yep, there it is. They still do. That is a maintenance fee. Yeah, do you guys know about this? I can't spell maintenance. A charge you may have to pay each month for having an account open at a specific financial institution. How to avoid monthly maintenance fees in 2024. Oh my God. If certain requirements aren't met, maintenance fee requirements. What are checking account monthly accountants fees? Okay, here we go. I guess this must be one of them. I'm just going to pull it out for an example. But typically it ranges from $5 to $35 a month. Oh my God. Why do they charge it? Because they can. There it is. So if you don't have any money, they charge you money for not having any money. Isn't that cute? And also, like, here's another factor, is that if you have a lot of disposable income, it's easier for you to buy and spend money on things for a large point in the future. So I'll give you an example. If you can buy, like, let's say, like, oh, this is not a good example in practice, but the theory is good. A World of Warcraft subscription. You have to pay $15 a month for a WoW subscription. But if you can pay every 6 months, you pay a larger amount of money, but each individual payment is cheaper. So if you look at the total amount of money that you spend, it's only like $13 or $12, whereas it's $15. So poor people don't have the amount of money or cash on hand in order to buy in bulk or in order to purchase large, like bundle deals, like for insurance or something like that. So they're stuck paying the one-time like premium payments rather than making the long-term higher value bulk payments. And like there are a lot of other examples of this that happen. Let me think of some more of them. Oh, fuck. The scam value? Yeah. Oh, for phones. I think phones are definitely like that too. Phones are like that. Car insurance. Yep, car insurance is like that as well. And almost everything is like this. What's your opinion on banking system in general? I mean, I don't know. That's too big of an idea. I don't think I'm educated enough to have an opinion on that, to be honest. I don't know enough about the topic. Shopping at Costco, you can afford 1 can of corn, but whenever you pay overall less for 12 cans? Yeah.
36% of Americans said they had more credit card debt than emergency savings.
Oh, yeah.
According to Experian,
I know
an
that
average
36%.
American holds a debt balance of $96,000 and
Wow. Yeah, maybe this is just mortgages. Maybe they had to get a box of tissues while they were at an emergency room. Could be either one.
$371, which includes several loan products like credit cards, auto loans, and mortgages. More than a quarter of Americans said debt was what kept them from financial security.
Debt is a way of channeling some of our financial resources, and that can be a very effective tool. Many of us are fans of credit cards that have rewards, for example, but if you're not paying that principal or debt off within the billing cycle, that's when those double-digit percentage interest rates hit, and that can then exact a toll on the other aspects of your personal finances.
Well, it's like things get out of control. Like, I remember one time me and my friend thought it'd be a good idea to roll tires down the driveway. Just, it is what it is, right? We thought it'd be a good idea to just, roll some tires down the driveway. And I remember we thought, like, we had the tire at the top of the driveway. And we were thinking, bro, this is the best idea that we've ever had. And then I thought, whenever we let go of it, we thought, well, where's the tire going to go? Oh, my God, it's going to hit the neighbor's car. How do we not think of this? Like, how do we not think this shit was about to happen? And so then I go and I had to get in the way of the tire and stop it from hitting the neighbor's car. And holy shit, guys. Holy shit, it was hard to do. It hurt. But if you can stop it at the top, it doesn't hurt that much. And what happens with the debt is that, like, let's say you've got, $1,000 that you owe, and it's 10% interest. Well, that's $1,100. But then the month after that, it's $1,200. It's $1,210. It's compounding interest. Isn't that cute? And then it just gets more and more and more. It just gets worse and worse. And so as soon as you lose control of it, you're never going to be able to realistically pay it off. You owe that on the interest debt too? Yeah, exactly. Thank God. People never do pay interest. Yeah. It's like if you want to make a lot of money, letting people borrow money on interest is a great way of making a lot of money because it's basically a fucking scam. It is. It's so much of a fucking scam that Muslims are like, this shit, no, it's illegal. Usury's fucking illegal over there. You can't even do that. And so that's the level of a scam that, like, I think that Americans are just so used to just, oh yeah, for sure that's the way it is. What's amortization? Amortization is the cost of a large purchase being budgeted out over the lifespan of the usage of that purchase. So, like, for example, if you're buying a car every year, you want to pay it like 12 times, right? That's what an amortization is. It's haram in Islam. Yeah, isn't that depreciation? It is. Yeah. Well, it's like it's basically like the way that you're spending money on something. Amortization also, I think, usually has there's like an interest component to it, so you can figure out like what the balance is. It's different. Amortization equals shock absorbers for intangible assets. Depreciation is for real assets. I could be wrong about that, but either way, the point that I'm making is that, like, that's what happens. Is so, like, you start spending money, and then you lose control of the money, and then that's it. You can never get it back. Like, that's what happened to my mom, for example. Yeah, like, that happened to my mom. Like, she basically had a lot of credit card debt, and then the interest for that debt just kind of got compounded, and it got added up more and more and more. I'm sorry to say. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Very bad. Credit card debt is fucking evil? Yeah, it is. I work for a finance company in Australia, and we also offer Islamic loans, the same crap, but they smell, but different smell, to be honest. I don't know what the details are with that. I have no idea. But the point is that people usually, like, have debt get away from them, if that makes sense.
How do we properly address this so that people cannot be in the cycle of just focusing on paying debt and necessities, but can even think about...
You're never going to be able to address it. And the reason why is because people are so stupid nowadays. They're more focused on whether the person that hit that one bridge had the COVID vaccine or not. So you have, like, somebody drives a boat into a bridge and the bridge collapses, and now everybody's thinking about, well, were they vaccinated? And this is where the dialogue is. So this is what the problem. There was one tweet It's one tweet, you're right, but there's a lot more people that think things that are just that stupid. It's an example. You're right, not everybody thinks about that one stupid thing, but if you put all the stupid things together, you've got a lot of people thinking about a lot of stupid things. And was he vaccinated? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to figure it out. It was not just one tweet. Yeah, that's what happens.
Transitioning to that other 20% and creating an emergency savings, which causes financial stability.
Yeah, I don't think that people, like, at least in the U.S., I think that this problem has to get, like, way worse because culturally, I don't think that there's a solution for this problem. Because people are so fixated around, like, these, like, weird wedge social issues, like, for example, like, transsexuals or, like if you need an ID to vote or not, or let's see, what are some of the other like really silly ones? Like accelerationism, yeah. Like I'm trying to think of symptoms. Yeah, these are distractions, right? And it's not that these aren't problems. It's not that they're not real. It's that when you can't afford to live in a house, it doesn't fucking matter what clothes you're wearing, does it? Like, let's be honest. It doesn't fucking matter. Now, people are getting fixated on that. And they're not thinking about things that are causing them to actually lose money. And honestly, don't rock the boat. You'll be all right. Yeah, sure. Materialism is a huge part of the culture. I think so, too. And this is also another big problem is that, like, Americans are cultured into, like, I think some Europeans might not understand how bad materialism is here. It is so insanely bad that I can't even describe how bad it really is. It's like scary that it's so bad. Gold standard is not backed by $1. Yeah, sure. Like, tell us? Well, it's like people will spend money just to go out and make it seem like they're spending money. It's kind of like these, tipping culture, right? Yeah, they're going to tip a lot of money whenever they shouldn't be doing that. Now, what exactly is materialism? Materialism is that, so basically, a lot of consumerism is built around telling you that you are a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and you have 983 pieces, and those last 17 pieces are at Sears. Those last 17 pieces are at Target, and that's what will solve it for you, or Amazon. Yeah, and I think it's a huge problem.
Even saving for retirement, which is the goal of creating future financial stability in retirement.
Yeah.
The fact that many Americans are living in financial insecurity poses a big risk to the economy as a whole.
There's a reason why we measure.
I just saw that Dollar Tree was, look at this. Dollar Tree raises max price to $7. I remember going to Dollar Tree, and guess how much it was? Never guess. You would never imagine how much it was. It was a fucking $1. A max price ceiling of $5. Bro, they are increasing the price cap. So, and this is what the issue is, right? Because $5 to $7 is $2, right? No, it's not. It's 40%. And this is what people don't understand, is that you get nickel and dimed and you start spending $2 more here, $3 more there. And eventually, you know, like you take enough little bites out of something and it's gone. And that's what it is. 40% isn't a nickel or a dime. Well, it's $2 though, right? And you think to yourself, well, $2 isn't that much money. Well, yeah, it's not. But whenever everything is $2 more that started at $5, now you've got a problem. It's nuts, man. Dollar Tree is $7 fucking dollars. You getting hoodwinked? Yeah.
And monitor very closely things like consumer confidence or consumer sentiment, because what populates those data points are everyday measurements like inflation and the strength of the job market.
I think COVID really showed us that households, when they don't have a level of stability and security, are actually the primary foundation of whether the economy can be strong or not, because we are so based on consumer spending in this country.
Public policy can greatly improve Americans' chances of achieving financial security.
So,
well, that's not really going to happen. Like, they're not really going to figure anything out about that. It's not, they're not, This is not going to happen.
For example, Social Security is the bedrock of most people's financial security in retirement. It's not the only source of their retirement income, but
I always found this to be very ironic that so many old people can be against socialism, but they have Social Security. I never really got that. Because it would seem like, because it's like if you read the name and it says so, I mean, it's like, I mean, you really can't put two on top of two. They're like, what the fuck?
it keeps a lot of the older people out.
It's money you paid in, though. Somebody says it's money you paid in. Yes and no. So it is money that you paid in, but at the same time, if you are alive long enough, you are getting more out of it than you paid into it. And also, money that you pay into the system, that then the system redistributes to you at a interval after it's allocated in the most effective way, is effectively what all taxes are. That's the way it works. Like, this isn't like a gotcha. That's the way it works. We don't want complete socialism. Well, it's not that. Nobody says that. That's a bad argument because it's forced. Of course it's forced. It has to be, or people wouldn't spend the money to do it because they're stupid. Absolutely. That's why we have forced payments for roads. Because if we didn't have forced payments for roads, you know what would happen? Is that the only people that would want to pay for the roads that were on their street would be the other people that live on their street. And nobody else would want to pay for the road. Imagine how much of a fucking chaos that would be. We'd have no fucking roads. Well, I don't drive that way. I don't care about that road. Let's just not do that one.
Poverty. And we know that Social Security needs some reforms in order to maintain its same level of benefits. And then also anything we can do to make sure that employers are offering any kind of retirement savings opportunities, emergency savings opportunities, and we're offering employees the ability to enroll in benefits, whether that's health insurance or insurance for life insurance or disability insurance. You know, employers are a key part of this too, and public policies play a big.
Here's a big problem right here. What's the biggest health insurance company? What's the biggest one? Blue Cross Blue Shield? Okay. Total cash compensation for Daniel Lop 66 was $15 million. The amount of money that's being paid out into like executives is nuts. It was more. Yeah, and this is also down from 1.2 million from the year before. All of that money is just getting immediately deleted. That's it. Try Aetna. Total compensation is $21 million. That's what it is. That's why this problem's happening too. Just get you for-profit insurance companies, and people are taking millions of dollars. And he's also probably not the only person that's getting paid a lot of money in that company.
Role in terms of what employers can offer and at what price they can afford it.
The household's willingness to work toward financial security is also important.
Ultimately, the answer here is
I think that everybody would work towards financial security if they thought they could get to it. But people don't work towards it because they are, like, there are a lot of people that are not stupid. They understand math, and they see how the math adds up, and they realize it's never going to happen. So they don't even do it. I think people will work towards it if they feel like they can, or at least a good number of people will.
solutions have to be arrived at the macro level as well as the household level. And so at some level, we all need to try to own our own financial success by managing our money as well as we can across the range of areas like emergency savings and retirement.
Financial advisors say the first step is to have a clear goal.
What do you want to achieve personally? What do you want to achieve at work? When do you want to retire? What do you want to do for others? And write that down.
But the key to success comes down to budgeting.
Everyone should budget. What we say is it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. And so think about and have some transparency of where is your money going. And then make sure the budget that you have aligns with the goals that you wrote down. If you say you want to retire early, are you saving more to retire early? If you want to put your children through college, if you want to be debt-free, are you paying more on your student loans? Are you paying more on your credit cards so you can be debt-free? Make sure that your budget aligns with your goals.
There are actually millions of people struggling. It's not something that people want to talk about, but if you're in a place where your financial security feels super precarious, you're not alone. And it's not your fault.
Many people who have really high incomes and a lot of savings still feel financially anxious. So don't feel like this is your fault or something to do with the fact that your income isn't enough. You know,
well, it obviously isn't enough. I mean, it very clearly isn't enough. If it was enough, nobody'd be talking about this. Fucking obviously it's not enough. So the thing is that, and this is the problem with like a lot of conversations about this, is that there are people that basically say that like this is all society's fault, which is true in a lot of cases. But there are also instances, and I've seen this myself, of a lot of people who are the product of their own bad decisions. And, you know, I've seen them grow up. I've seen them like decisions they've made over their life. And, you know, really they're in a bad place because they're bad at making money or spending money, or sorry, bad at managing money or spending money. And they just do stupid things, right? And so the truth is that both of these things are accurate. Rich Streamer telling chat how to? I mean, yeah, I think it's true. I mean, I've known this for years. I mean, of course, like, do you guys know people that are like that have money problems because they're bad at spending money? And it's like, you would know that if they just did, yeah, I mean, like, what are we talking about? It has nothing to do with me being a streamer. Like, this is common sense. Everybody knows somebody like this. So a lot of people have no money education. Yeah. Yet you support universal basic income. Yeah, I also drink soda. I'm sure those two things are probably related more than the universal basic income comment. So anyway, what I'm saying is that like a lot of people just don't like saving money because they don't feel like they just don't like doing it. They like the instant gratification of spending all their money. And I think the truth is that it might not be necessarily like your fault what position you're in, but it's only going to be your fault if you end up in that position, right? If you end in that position. So like, it sucks this is the case, but I don't know, like there's nothing else you can really do about it other than vote and try to improve your own life on a personal level. That's it.
All have to deal with this in different ways. And the most important.
You're a millionaire telling people how to not be poor? Well, I'm curious, so what part of what I said isn't true? I want you to give me an example of something that I said that isn't true. You're poor because you eat breakfast. Yeah, what was it that I said? He's emotional because it's true? I think he's probably being emotional too. Yeah, the poor is supposed to tell us not how to be poor. I mean, like, but like, I just want to have I want to see an example here. What is it? Because I know that I'll get comments like this, so I figured I'd address one of them right now. Yeah, I'll give you a minute. This will probably take 5 minutes for him to explain it. I'll just finish the video.
What you can do is just acknowledge that and deal with it and not try to avoid it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. I think in general, this is becoming a bigger problem for a lot of people. And it's actually crazy for me to see how hard it is for average people to like make just basic payments. Yeah, it's really, really bad. And I figured I'd talk about it because like I haven't really talked about this stuff like all that much. Let's see. I think this person responded, millionaires buy houses they don't live in to drive the housing market up. So like what part of that, like what does that have to do with what I said? Yeah, I'm really confused. Like, what does that have to do with what I said? I'm trying to figure out like where you're going with this. Like, what are you trying to say? What's your argument here? Like, what is this? Because like what I'm hearing is like none of this even makes sense to me. Your money makes money, ours doesn't. So it's easy for you to say, don't be poor. What? So let's go back to your original comment. Telling people how not to be poor. What did I say that was inaccurate? Because I clearly said something that you think is inaccurate. Give me, like, what is that? Of course it doesn't make sense to you. Well, the reason why it doesn't make sense to me is because it doesn't make sense to anyone. Does what he's saying make, like, does this make sense to anyone here? I don't think it, like, what? No sense. Yeah, like, what is this? It's just an angry boy venting. I think that's what's happening. When was the last time you were poor? Long time ago. So you're accusing me and saying that I'm wrong, but you can't even explain the thing that I said that you disagree with. I think I said everything that, like, this is accurate. Like, it's totally true. Like, what does it have to do with my perspective? Like, either something's true or it's not true. You could be a billionaire or you could be homeless, and it's still a stupid idea to spend money on Supreme. Like, what are we talking about here? Exactly a long time ago? Do you have a point of view, or are you just yeah, this is the mindset of these people. So I gave you the ability to respond to something that you were disagreeing with, and you can't even explain what you disagree with. You don't even know what you're thinking. I'll give it like one or two more, then I want to move on. Because this seems like a waste of time. Saving money is not going to pay off student debt. What did I say about student debt? What did I say? What did I say about it? You said to save money? Do you think saving money is a bad idea? Do you think do you think saving money is a bad idea? Do you think you shouldn't save money? Your solution is not a solution? Oh my god. Oh, fuck. Then what is the solution? Jander, what is the solution? What should you do? Yes, if your debt's going to increase because of it, interest is less than the debt percentage. That not always, but it depends. So what's your solution? I'm getting dumber just reading this. Yeah, and this is the mindset of these people. I think that really, I mean, there is a stupid tax in life, and the dumber you are, the more you pay. And I think you could see that right now. This feels like a 14-year-old on the internet. I think that, I mean, 85 in his name, he could be 38. He could be 38 or 39. So yeah, I mean, it's like if you're still thinking like this at 38, I mean, that's a big problem. It really is. I'll tell you this, right, is that people like this are always going to have, like, this is probably what he's going to say. He's going to say, like, oh, it's a problem with, like, people buying houses. Well, you can't stop other people from buying houses. This is what I was telling you guys about, how, like, everybody tries to external. How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know a solution? I would be a billionaire if I had that answer. Well, maybe you should think about that. Maybe you should think about, like, how can you solve your own problems? Because let me give you some advice. Nobody's going to come in and ever solve your problems. No one's ever going to solve it. No one's ever going to come in and save you. There's never going to be a point in time where there's going to be, like, some system that's going to protect you from this other thing. Like, nobody gives a shit about you. If you, like, let's be honest. If you just died, it wouldn't matter. And that's the same for me and everybody else here too. The world doesn't need you. It will move on all the same. That's the truth. So if you can't make it, nobody cares. We're all just pawns. Yeah, something like that. True, you have to help yourself. Yeah, exactly. Victim mentality will kill you. It will. Any advice for someone young trying to buy their first house? Yeah, you got to make a lot of fucking money. That's it. You make a lot of fucking money and then try to get an interest rate that's low enough and then buy the house. Like, it's really just that simple. Yeah, save your fucking money.